remember any weird little attachments.
How are we doing on time?
We're doing fine.
We've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, my watch says, 3 minutes now. But we've started late before because we didn't have our act together. That's the one thing that's always so challenging with this is there's a normal course of business going on. And then all of a sudden it's like, quick, switch gears.
Switch gears. No, sure. All these different hats. You gotta switch it and wear and do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that I'm just like relaxing for the first time today, I'm have to be careful not to yawn
Right.
throughout this whole thing.
You just,
I'll drink
You
a
just
sip
put
of
your
my coffee.
coffee in front of your mouth.
Janet, come out, look at this.
Yeah, let me know. Make sure I don't look like a frumpy
Look okay?
or
yeah,
too
I
wide.
think that looks really good. And then Dr. Sarna had this banner, which is great. Then we don't have to worry about the mirror,
Perfect. Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
think we'll use that for future too.
Great.
And then I guess it's just a question, Dennis, if you can, once Dr. Sarna says, Janet, what kind of wine are we drinking? You know, then you can just kind of turn it.
Okay.
But then you'll go back to this setting after I do that and then monthly specials
Okay.
with that. Okay.
So Dr. Sarna's going to open?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, Dr. Sarna's got the lead.
And so we can't stop and reverse. We can,
No,
like,
We just go with it, we
Okay.
laugh and we,
It turned on. It just turned on.
Are we live?
Yeah, we just went live.
All right, hi everybody.
hi,
Welcome to Wind Down Wednesday, the last one of the year. Woo!
yay,
Super
what
glad.
a year.
Yeah, super
What
glad
do
to get 2021 out of the way, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Well, we're excited to be here today. So obviously the wellness team is hosting this time. And we have a special guest, Jennifer Baroumes. And of course, always Janet and Elfie. And
Hello.
so welcome everybody.
I hope that everyone's grabbed their favorite beverage, whether it's wine or some other beverage of your
Coffee.
choice. Elfie's got her coffee today. And ladies, I hope that you like what we're drinking because I'm really enjoying it. This is a 2018 Decoy Pinot Noir. As you know, one of my favorites would be a Pinot Noir. This one, though, is from California. Usually we've been drinking ones from Oregon, and the climates are slightly different, but perfect for the Pinot Noir grape. But loving this one, hints of strawberry, hints of, what else? My nose isn't that sophisticated. Aromas of raspberry, strawberry, and rose on the nose. I kind of like that. It's a good little test for me. Hints of rosemary and peppermint in there too.
I was just gonna say rosemary is more
Yeah.
my-
So I will never be a sommelier, but I really trust the vintner on this one. But I think it's really nice and light, and look at that beautiful color. It's gorgeous, perfect for the holidays.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm really excited that Dr. Sarna's, one of her favorites is a Pinot Noir too. I was like, oh, I'll pick one out, no problem. So,
Yeah,
bottom
good job. I
ladies.
like it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice.
Great pick.
And by the way, at the winery, the Decoy Winery, they are sold out of the 2018 version, but you can still get it at World Market because I picked it up today. So, and drink it slightly chilled. I think it tastes nice that way, just to sit around and relax. So, December savings, we've got a lot of fun stuff for you guys. You can save $500 this month when you book a CO2 on the face, save $500. So that's an awesome savings. You would need to book it in December for January or February, of course. And then the other special that we have is get a free Dermaplane upgrade whenever you book a hydrofacial. So that's perfect for getting that dead skin off the surface, getting your skin nice and hydrated and bright for any holiday parties you have. Sometimes I find that we're just so overtaxed during the holidays that it's easy to feel kind of weary and you need a little freshening. So Kristine, Amanda, they'll take good care of you ladies.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That is my favorite because you basically are ready to go out like right after.
Yeah.
All juicy and
Yeah.
and looks
Nice
awesome.
and ready. Your makeup
Yeah.
goes on
Yeah,
nice.
it's awesome. My favorite.
And then we also have another favorite of yours, Dr. Sarna, the Cool Peel. treat your face, get the neck for free, you're saving $176. But we'll treat the face and the neck all for the price just of the face, and that's with a cool peel. And I love that one too, because you really don't have downtime. If you're light like me, you look a little pink for a few days, but other than that, you know, it just looks like I've been out in the sun, but it's great for rejuvenating the skin. We also have some stocking stuffers for you on our cosmetic products. Buy 2 products, get 1 free. That's right, buy 2, 1 free. And of course, it's the product of equal or lesser value there. And unfortunately, we couldn't include Latisse on that. And then bursting with energy. Who couldn't use more energy right now? So many demands on us throughout the holidays, whether it's, you know, just trying to juggle everything, get holiday shopping done, get cards out, attend parties, you know, host parties, things like that. You can get your Super B injections in the office here to help keep your energy up during the holidays. They're only $25 right now. Normally they're $35. And that's something you can come in and get, what, once a week?
Oh yeah, once a week.
Okay, I think that's great. In fact, I think I'm gonna get one tomorrow, as a matter of fact. We also have weight loss programs. You know, Elfie is guiding patients through the weight loss programs here. And please feel free to see us. We know it's that time of year where we're all carrying a little extra weight, have a few extra COVID pounds on us. We're getting around the holidays, the sweets are going around, the wine is pouring. So I think you're gonna wanna see Elfie, if any of that is a concern for you. So those are our specials for the month of December, and the month is flying by fast. We are going to have Wind Down Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month in January, and Dr. Weiss and I are just winging it. So we'll let you know what the topic is. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to write in, and let us know if there's a particular topic or subject that you're interested in, and we'll do our best to make that happen. And then since this session today is live, you can chime in with any questions. We love questions. You've got some great experts right here. Fountain full of information, so please feel free to chime in and ask any questions that you have. We're happy to answer them. All right, Dr. Sarna, back to you.
All right, thanks. All right, so today we are going to be focusing on bioidentical hormones, and we have a very special guest with Jennifer Baroumes, and she is from BioTe Medical. She's our product manager? No.
Account manager?
Account manager.
Say that.
And so why don't you tell everybody a little bit about BioTe Medical?
Yes, absolutely. Happy to be here, and thank you very, very much. Yes, hello everybody. My name's Jennifer. Yes, I am with BioTe Medical. And to tell you a little bit about BioTe, BioTe is really a method that is backed by 80 years of data and research. And within that method, we really are, you know, here to help kind of restore your hormone levels back to a time in your life where they were more optimal. Oftentimes, as we age, sometimes we'll, you know, have some symptoms. Let's say lack of sleep, maybe low energy, you know, some little joint pain here and there, and restoring your hormones back to that, you know, natural youthful level will help eliminate some of those symptoms. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So guys, I've been doing bioidentical hormone replacement therapy for like 20 years. And we'll talk about what that word means in a minute. But only 7 years ago did we add the BioTe medical method to our options. And we have found it to be the best option, the most popular option, and really that's our mainstay now. And so backing that up a little bit. So first I just want to tell you what bioidentical means. So bioidentical, that word just means that the hormones that we are using are exactly the same as the hormones your body has made all your life. And maybe it's stopped now because you're menopausal, but nonetheless, they're the same hormones that your body's always been making. The hormones we use are derived, plant-derived, so they're natural and bioidentical. This is different than your birth control pills, which are synthetic hormones. In the past, we used Premarin and Prempro. These were oral tablets that women took for menopausal symptoms. Those were all synthetic, so they weren't exactly the same as what your body was making previously, and as such, you did not have the same outcomes when you supplemented with them. In fact, there was a lot of bad things that happened. And so a lot of people became very afraid of hormones because of the data that came out. We saw more blood clots, more breast cancer, more dementia, more heart disease. And so it was super scary. And they're like, oh, if you have to take hormones, like 5 years max, like do not take them longer.
It's a death sentence.
Yeah, like it's bad, but we know you don't want to suffer, but just a little bit and that's it. So it's so awesome because, there's bioidentical hormones available. So that's the great thing. You don't have to be taking these dangerous synthetic hormones for your symptoms. So as bioidentical hormones really took center stage and had lots of research and data starting to be collected, we learned that not only help your symptoms, but they're also preventing chronic diseases. They're preventing heart disease. They're preventing breast cancer. They're preventing dementia, preventing osteoporosis. And so that was super exciting. We're like, oh my gosh, not only are they not only are they not dangerous, but they're actually having all these amazing secondary benefits. So that's what all we do at Paradise Wellness, and even over at Norterra Family Medicine, you're only going to be offered bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And the other great thing is with the BioTe method, that is with pellets. And so I'm not sure if people have heard so much about what pellets are, but this is going to be those same bioidentical hormones powder, super compressed into the shape of these tiny little pellets that we actually implant in a little bit of fat above your butt. Capillaries grow right around where those pellets are sitting. So every single heartbeat is pulling hormone into the bloodstream. So 24/7 delivery for women lasting about 4 months, men can even last up to 6. And so it's a great delivery system of something that's very natural and safe and will really help save your life in the future. It's awesome. So it's a really good option.
We didn't want to do hormones with pellets. We heard really bad things about it. But the BioTe method is different and they're very conservative. And we love that because we can always add more, but we can't take it out. And other companies, there are a lot of other companies that do pellets. Mm-hmm. And we have some horror stories that we can tell you that we fixed. Mm-hmm. But we love that it's conservative.
Yeah, and based on tons of research.
80 years worth of data.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of data, and all over the world.
Yes.
That was the thing that really impressed me when I went to BioTe training, is the fact that, bioidentical hormones have been used all over the world. So popular in Europe, mm-hmm. so popular in Australia. Mm-hmm. In the US here, we're kind of behind the times, right?
Mm-hmm. Little big
and
pharma.
So all that testing has been done, all of that documentation. No wonder all these Europeans are always so happy. No wonder these Aussies are so happy.
And they look so good.
And they look so good.
They're so young.
They're vibrant, That was the other thing that was also made a big impression on me, was it's not just about going through menopause. Mm-hmm. There are different things in your life that can cause your hormones to be off balance. And that's really what it's about, is balancing those hormones so that you feel like you. And that's what I find that I tell patients who say, you do what? And why do you, how does that help you? Is I say, when you stop feeling like you, that's when you need to see a hormone specialist. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I know one.
Exactly.
Just another quick thing about the pellets, and one thing that kind of differentiates BioTe as well between, let's say, other pellets maybe, is the quality of pellets. Mm-hmm. So for instance, the 503B pharmacy, we only have a 3 to 5% variance in our pellets, so which is really the highest quality, the highest standard out in the market in comparison to maybe the 10 to 20% variance you might have with some other pellets. So BioTe really has that strict purity.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So 503B pharmacy, really, that just means that pharmacy has gone through tons and tons of excess certifications and training to be able to provide safe products to patients. And so that's what she means by when we get our pellets from a 503B pharmacy, not just the pharmacy down the street. And so that means that all their product that they make is tested and tested again and super tested. And so it's very, very pure. It's not going to have fillers or other things in the product itself. And so that's super important. And when we and that's a super important reason why it's so successful, is where I'm going with that. Because you want to get the right hormone at the right dose for the right person to get the best outcome. And that's what we can do with the BioTe medical method.
And I love the way that BioTe helps, continues to study people and how this affects people. They are continually giving us scientific data, which is so helpful as we treat patients.
Absolutely. And our most recent study was the second largest breast cancer study that was just published in the European Journal Health. And it was a 9-year study, and it was 2,400 female patients with testosterone pellets and estradiol pellets. And the study showed that 35.5% of the patients actually had a reduction in breast cancer in comparison to the SEER data. So that was very, very impressive data. And of course, all that data and those studies are available for people that want to come in and want to actually see it, because we're really about educating and providing as much knowledge as possible to everybody who's interested.
It's so impressive, right?
It really is.
So if you're just comparing the general population to those who are getting the testosterone estradiol pelleted hormones, and to see that there's a reduction in breast cancer, that's amazing. I remember when I went through training as the provider, and we have to do a lot of didactics and some testing and stuff. They taught us that the reason for that mostly is testosterone. So testosterone affects some of the estrogen receptors in your breast, and so it actually closes or downregulates some of the receptors that, when turned on, turn into cancer. And so that's so exciting. So adding testosterone actually reduces breast cancer risk. That's also why we can actually use hormone pellets in women who have had breast cancer. And that's super exciting, because typically they're put on estrogen blockers and they're just miserable with the side effects of blocking all their estrogen, and they just feel terrible. And we can give them testosterone. So testosterone is actually going to help all those symptoms, and it's going to continue to reduce their risk of recurrence of another breast cancer. And so it's exciting that it's really for everybody. We just modify what we're giving you based on your health history. And if you have breast cancer, there's going to be a modification. You're getting testosterone only. If you have a history of endometriosis, you're going to have less estrogen given. So it's really, really cool. It's a whole dosing site algorithm that we answer all these questions and put in your age, of course, and weight and etc. And it kind of calculates a suggested dose for you. And it's so on point. It's so good, and everybody does so well. And that was the other thing I really was impressed with the BioTe method, is that it was a very individually dosed system. I had, as Elfie kind of alluded to, we've had patients come to us that were getting hormone therapy elsewhere, and they walk in like a mill and walk out, walk in, walk out, getting the same dose as everybody else. No labs are being checked, nothing is monitored.
That's frightening.
Right, and they were having side effects, and their blood levels were crazy all over the place. And so, we're not that way. I mean, basically, we check your blood. We use the dosing site. We recheck your blood. We ask you about how you're feeling. I mean, it's a whole process, and we want to make sure that every patient has the very best outcome that's possible. And so it's been really great. I remember back 7 years ago when my rep at that time introduced me to this, and I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Okay, so let me know more. And then it's just exploded as far as our Paradise Wellness business. It's the largest part of our business now, and it's awesome. And it's so fun to see happy patients.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember our one patient? We started with her early on in our pelleting history, and every year at this time, she would check herself into a hospital because she was so depressed. She was so afraid of what she would do, and she's on less medications now, And she's also not been in the hospital for depression since.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I hear this story a lot because
Yeah.
I'm out in the field a lot, obviously speaking with other providers and patients, and that is not an uncommon story, which is gives me goosebumps because
Yeah.
that's why we do what we do,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I know we've had some patients share that, like they're from the South, and that when women, back in the day, when women were going through menopause, they'd send them over to the loony house for a while.
Yeah.
Because, they were just like out of their mind,
Yeah.
and they just assumed that was a mental health issue.
Right.
And so they, would have to go into the mental hospital for a while. And you're like, what? Like, it's a hormone issue. It's not a mental health issue.
Right. And we're
Yeah.
living longer now.
Yes.
So I think that's why, being able to balance those hormones and improve the quality of life is so important. We're living longer. Well, what good is living longer if we're miserable or depressed or, experiencing things that just don't feel right, and don't make us feel our best and enable us to enjoy our lives.
Yeah.
The other thing, I remember back when we started doing this, I had been on bioidentical hormones for probably almost 5 years. And so I was using troches, I was using creams, things like that. And it definitely helped. And so I was told, Janet, because you've been on it, it's working well for you when you get pelleted, don't expect like this big drastic change. But I did feel a significant difference. And so I wouldn't go back. And so when I do meet people that tell me like, oh, I do the creams, this or that, I ask them, well, how is it working for you? And they're like, well, I don't know, I think it's working a little bit. You have to try the pellets. There is a difference because of that bioavailability
Yep.
that is possible rather than, hoping that the creams are absorbing. You haven't oversaturated an area. Remembering to do it,
Yes.
How often do we hear from people, I'm not good if I have to do something every day, or multiple times a day even, even once a day at bedtime, they can't seem to get it right, So how is it supposed to work for you if you're not doing it right? And with the pellets, you can kind of forget about it.
Yeah. It's doing it for
Let
you.
it do its work,
Yeah.
right?
Though
Yeah.
exercise does help.
Yes.
You
Yes.
do need to exercise. I've had a number of patients tell me recently, if I have to exercise as well to make this work, and I go, you know what? The exercise makes you feel better.
Yeah. Anyway,
And
mentally and physically.
but this is exponential because it also drags more testosterone into your bloodstream.
Right. Remember, the more heartbeats, the more hormones. So if you're exercising, you got more heartbeats going.
And it doesn't mean you have to do anything wild and crazy,
Oh,
right?
no.
I mean,
Oh,
that could be
no.
that could be walking for
Yeah.
20,
30
30
minutes
minutes a
at
day.
least a day.
The
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
The dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the symptoms that folks present with. And actually, they're on this list here, by the way,
Right.
if you've been looking at that. Because sometimes there's hormone imbalance going on, not just in menopausal women, but women that are not menopausal and men. So they may be feeling tired and grumpy. They may feel like they have brain fog. There may be symptoms of just irritability. Muscle endurance is a big one. So, you're like, have a long day running around, and then the next day you're just exhausted, and you're like, oh, I have to recover. You're like, I have to recover from my daily life? That's crazy. Or the people that are working out in the gym, good for them, and they're like, not really seeing any changes, and like, I just keep, spinning my wheels. And so those can be symptoms of hormone imbalance or hormone deficiency. And so it's important to talk about those symptoms with your doctor, and if you seek out a hormone expert, we are going to check your hormones.
Right.
We're going to do a lab test, and we're going to see where you're at, and we're going to talk to you about where you should be at and some options of getting you there. And and then the BioTe pelleting, of course, is always the most efficient option to get you there.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
In May, I had a patient come to me for weight loss, and she had not been doing very well, though she had been trying very hard, and she was doing all the right things. And I said, I don't think I can help you with your choice of food and exercise, but I can help you with your hormone optimization. So we are going to be talking a little bit more about Prolon a little bit later. She did a couple of rounds of Prolon, and you'll find out about that later. But then I tested her labs, and she came back for hormones, and just yesterday we did her peak follow-up.
Okay.
And this sweet lady has lost 42 pounds.
Oh, wonderful.
And she still wants to lose more, but she and her husband have been married 30 years, and they had sex for the first time
In a long
since
time.
she's been pelleted for a very long time. And she says it saved her marriage. Her husband was really, really sweet and everything, but intimacy is a really important part of marriage. And so she's so excited that she was feeling her hormones one night, and she woke her husband up and she says, well, now that you're up. He was thrilled.
It's like,
So-
okay.
So
That's great.
I think that's fantastic.
I think that's lovely. Yeah.
The hormones were the thing that helped her convert all of her good habits into weight loss
Right.
and energy to do the things that she wasn't able to do. And plus, she said she's not so grumpy anymore.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's really exciting. That's a cute story, Elfie.
Yeah.
I love that.
Now, since you do service a lot of the accounts, have you had other stories that have been shared with you?
Yes, actually, great question. One of my fairly new accounts, more in the South End, was treating a patient who had chronic depression, could not get her off the couch. She actually couldn't even get up to go to work. She ended up getting her pellets. It's very, very sad, and I actually met this patient. But anyways, she as soon as she got her pellets, it was probably about a good month and a half afterwards where she was like, oh my gosh, this is like night and day difference. And it actually gave her enough energy to where she's not laying on the couch anymore. She actually got up, she found a job, and she's continuing her pellet therapy, obviously. I mean, who would ever, want to go back to that?
Right.
And again, just reducing the pharmaceutical drugs that she's been taking before. So a super successful story. And I travel a little bit with my job, obviously, and I do wear my BioTe polo shirt a lot.
Right.
And I have been in the airport before, and I've had people stop me. Oh, I use BioTe. Yeah, I love it. Oh my goodness, it changed my life. If I could have a dime for every time somebody came up to me and said, this has changed my life, I'd be retired. I mean, and again, like I said earlier on before, that's why we do what we do, is because we're giving a lot of men and women kind of their life back.
Marriage therapy,
Yes.
too, or relationship
Yes.
therapy.
Yeah.
And the days of, well, this is just part of getting older, no, that's not the case.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also interesting about the getting older, because we live so much longer
Right.
than we used to live. And so we really don't want to spend that last 40 years feeling like crap, right?
No, thank you.
We want to feel amazing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's another thing that is really great about hormone optimization, is it allows you to live those later years feeling really well.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to the point I was thinking about, is like how long I get patients, well, how long do I have to do this before they've started, or how long do I need to? You can do it forever if you want to, really. I mean, honestly, there's not a stopping point. It's when you're ready to give up the benefits that you've been getting, or no longer need heart disease prevention, dementia prevention, etc., which really is never. Now, clearly, if I have a 75-year-old man or woman that we're pelleting, their doses are going to be different than my 45-year-olds.
Sure.
So that's not that you stay on the same dose forever, but there's not really a stopping point. Ugh. And as far as the starting, that's kind of like interesting, because there's not a rule of how young can you be, but most of us men and women will be peaking with our hormone levels in our 20s. So we don't really see people when they're peaking with their lab levels, right? So we're
Right.
mostly seeing late 30s, early 40s. Well, really, we mostly
Though
see
we've had
50 and more, but
some
I'm just saying we have a few younger,
like
And-
early 30s.
yeah, and it is interesting because they come in with the symptoms, and they almost always, these younger ones that have symptoms, almost always have very low testosterone. And we're like,
Interesting,
what?
yeah.
Like, what happened to you? Like, why is your testosterone so low? Well, we can't always figure that out, but we have options to
Of the
help.
why. Yeah.
Although stress does
But
play
can
a
it be
huge,
stress?
Yes.
And
and the
sometimes
toxins in the air, in our food.
Plastic water bottles,
Yes.
BPAs.
Yeah, if someone's been really sick,
Yeah.
you know,
Autoimmune
those kind of things
illnesses.
can throw off your
Mhm.
hormones. So that was another thing that I learned when we went through our training, and
Yeah.
I just thought it was for people who were going through menopause, you know. And look how many men we have coming in here
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
You know, we've been, you know, not exclusively, but primarily, you know, a company that attracts female patients. We have a lot more men. They see their wives feeling great,
Yeah.
and then, you know, I want some of that.
Yeah, they can't
You
keep
know?
up with their wives.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like,
They don't want to
wait a
be left behind.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's really neat that we've, you know, expanded that in the practice, and we've seen it happen on the cosmetic side then,
Mhm.
because, you know, people start to see everything that we have
Right.
going on in here to help improve their lives.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Mhm.
Very cool. So we get another common question that we get when I have a patient in the office doing the pellets is like, what side effects is going to happen to me? Like what's going to happen with these hormones, because they're a little bit nervous. And the great thing is really nothing, but we do go over some potential changes. So when you start, especially with very low hormones, and we optimize them, they go up like couple weeks, your levels are already up there. I mean, we do peak blood tests for women at 6 weeks and for men at 4 weeks. So that's your true peak, but it's rapidly rising, right?
We call it 0 to hero.
Yes, exactly. So that change can sometimes bring about some symptoms that are very transitional, very short-lived, sometimes just a few days. So one thing that we see with that rapid change, actually not so much in Arizona because we're so dry, but water retention, right? So testosterone really stimulates your muscles, and so you're gonna, like if you went out for a run and you come home and your thighs are kind of buff for an hour or two, you might feel that sensation just because your hormones have just quickly changed over the last couple weeks. That is not something to worry about because it doesn't stick around very long.
Right.
The other thing that's listed on our paperwork is that same swelling in the hands or feet. That's what I actually never see in Arizona, because I think your body just takes all that fluid, like, I need it. It doesn't let it stick around. For the people with acne, so hormones definitely stimulate acne, or they can. I mean, there's lots of reasons for acne. So that rapid change in testosterone could cause a breakout, but it's not going to be your new normal. That's just going to be your body adjusting, and then you're good again. What else is on our list? Oh, hair changes. So you are going to grow hair everywhere you have hair much faster. You're not going to get hair in new places. You're not going to get a beard. You're not going to have a hairy back. I mean, if you have hair in those places, they'll grow faster.
You will have to just pluck some
Pluck
chin
a little
hairs
bit more.
here and there.
Yeah.
I'll take that, you know, and have the better quality of life though.
Oh, for sure.
100%. Yes.
One thing I really noticed, which was funny, is I probably was at a point where I wasn't shaving my legs, maybe a couple, 2-3 times a week or whatever, who cares? Oh my gosh, now every single day. I mean, I don't always because I don't care to, and it's winter, but if I want to have my legs bare, I have to shave them every day.
Wow.
And that's how I was when I was younger. It's
When you
whatever,
were
it's a
younger,
trade-off, it's
right?
a trade-off. I would never give that up, I was really like, wow, getting my hair cut more often. So your hair really grows faster, and that's actually a good thing because we have a lot of women, especially, complaining of hair loss. Through COVID. I mean, that has been a dramatic
The stress
hit on the hair, either having COVID or just dealing with the stress of COVID. Stress is the #1 cause of hair loss.
Not hormones.
No, yeah. Well, yes, because stress causes the hormone cortisol to play a role. But yes, but not the hormones we're talking about.
Yeah.
So so stress is the #1 cause. So when we can actually give you some hormones that we're missing to grow your hair back, then that is fantastic. So that's a really an effect that's actually a very good effect, if you will. And that's really the only things that we talk about. Oh, and so for those women who have gone through menopause, one of the effects that may happen, usually it's about 2-3 months down the road that we don't want, is you could start your period again. You're not cycling, you can't get pregnant, but we do have to make adjustments if that happens. So that's the other thing that we deal with as a potential side effect. But really,
But it doesn't happen often.
no, So it's really good. Yeah.
Any side effect can be treated or
Right.
taken care of.
Manipulated or so.
It's not a reason.
Little
to not go
adjustment.
for it. Yep.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And we're available to you. I mean, our patients just phone in with questions or whatnot, and we give them a call back. And if you have concerns, we're always available for you for that too. And BioTe Medical also has this website, which is awesome, that you can log into, and you can even watch a video of being pelleted if you wanted to see what it looks like before you had it done. They have on file, and we actually do patient seminars. And so that's actually how we grew our business in the beginning, is with monthly patient seminars, which is fantastic. So they have a whole slide deck that I go through, and it talks about all the benefits, and it shows you the research behind the information that I'm providing. So it's a really good, informative seminar. And we try to do something monthly. We always skip November, December, because no one comes, because it's holiday time. And no one comes in July in the middle of summer either. So we do the seminars pretty regularly. So that's
now
something.
that COVID's
somewhat.
I know, that kind of got in the way for
That
a
was
while.
a pain. So if that's something that you are interested in and you don't want to wait, you can watch a patient seminar through the biotemedical.com. But if you are interested in, waiting, then we'll be announcing when our first seminar of the year will be. And it's usually on a Wednesday. It's usually about an hour. And it's very casual, relaxed. You can ask questions, and I go through the slide deck a little bit, but that's a great place to learn more information too, if we're not giving you enough today.
Yeah, and I think it helps people get comfortable with the idea, especially if it's something that you're unfamiliar with. It's kind of like, wow, I've never heard of this before. It's a lot to absorb. Do I want to put something in my body? A lot of people are thinking about these things. I think the seminar really just gives you a chance to, it's like an orientation, I think, and a lot of people find it really helpful.
And you can get your labs done at the time.
Well,
we order them
Yeah.
at that time, which is helpful. And then you can find out even if you have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, then there's those questionnaires. Lots of times when I'm talking to patients about cosmetic things, I find that when, we get behind the closed door, then sometimes things start to come out, and I ask them, whether they do bioidentical hormones, and they kind of look at me funny. And so I give them a little bit of an education. I say, you know what, I'm going to send you home with a questionnaire. And so I'll pull out the female questionnaire, and then I'll ask them, is this a concern for your husband as well? Oh, you have one for men too? Yeah, give me both. And it's really easy just to go down the list, sometimes, occasionally, sometimes, always, never. You just go down the list, and I think that helps people start to identify their need, right? And then you guys just take it from there with the labs and everything.
Yeah,
So,
it's really good.
yeah.
Well, we've really enjoyed adding this service to what we do with hormones, because it's just really been great. And I've had the hormone, when we go to training, if you want, then they pellet you too. And so I've had my pellets for 7 years, and it's just phenomenal. It's just, it is really life-changing. I know that's kind of like life-changing, but it really is, because, as I'm getting older, people can't keep up with me. I'm like, it should be the opposite usually, right? So my kids can't keep up with me. I'm an 18 and 21-year-old, and I'm like, get out of bed, we're going hiking, we're doing this, and I'm running errands, or I'm cooking, and I'm doing stuff, and they're like, oh my God, like I have to go take a nap. I'm like, really? How can you have to take a nap? Like, we slept the same.
Yeah.
So I realize some youngins need longer sleep, but I'm always like, wow.
But you have that energy all day.
Right,
That's
I
what's
could
really
run
different.
circles around my kids.
All day. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of a fun thing too. So I'm like,
Yeah.
my husband's always like, you mean keep up with your mom and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, that's right.
I could see Jeff razzing him.
Yeah. So one of the things I also want to just point out or talk about or show, we have a couple props sitting out here. One is this book that Gary Donovitz is kind of the founder of the whole BioTe. And he's written a couple books, and this is his most recent one on testosterone. And it's a pretty great book. I mean, I've had a few patients read and go, okay, where I want to come, like where do I sign up? I need to do this. And it really kind of talks about testosterone, because a lot of folks feel or think that testosterone is just for men, right? It's just a male hormone, it's just for men. And this kind of reviews how testosterone is so important for women. And it also includes the information about how safe it is and how preventative it is for chronic disease, etc. Dispels some of the myths of people that are worried about testosterone. And we have these in the office, and we give them out for free if you are interested in reading them, and that's awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then what else do we have up here? Looks like we have some supplements.
Yeah, so we have some supplements to feature today. So this one is 80K, and 80K is vitamin D. And this is D3 with K2, and that's very important because that means it's body ready to be put into the cells to actually make a difference. So one of the things that I'm going to highlight on that or point out is, they did these studies on vitamin D because we're like, oh yeah, vitamin D is going to be so great for all these things, including your bones, and it really was an osteoporosis study. And I'm like, shoot, that's not doing anything. Like, what? Like, they were really surprised. Well, they weren't using a form of vitamin D that was getting into the bones. And so, as you know, they keep doing research and they figure out, like, oh my gosh, it has to be D3 to get into your bones. And it has to be carried by K2 to get there. And so, naturally, now we have D3 with K2. And then the vitamin A is a great antioxidant as well. So they kind of just synergistically work together to help this work for you. And vitamin D is a hormone. It's not a vitamin, even though we call it that. And so it does support your bones, but it supports your brain and your heart too, which is amazing. And so this is one of our core nutrients that we have our patients on. We check their vitamin D with their blood, and that helps us to tell them what dose of vitamin D they're going to be on.
Right, 5 or 10.
5,000 or 10,000 international units. And so that's one of the key vitamins that we have. And then this one is, did you bring a DIM? We didn't bring a DIM. We need a DIM. Yeah. So I don't have the DIM in front of me, but I'm going to do that one next because that's where my brain's going. So the DIM, which is DIM, that is a very important supplement to help optimize your hormones basically. So it's actually made from cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, that type of thing. It stands for diindolymethylcarbonyl 3, and that basically helps your hormones with the way they're metabolized in the body. So lots of benefits. One, you unbind your hormones so they're available to land in your receptors. One of the things that's sometimes very dramatic when we measure testosterone in men, we always get their total and their free testosterone. And so let's say their total is 680, but their free is like 9. And you're like, oh my gosh, if 680 milligrams of testosterone, 9 is available at this moment to get in your receptors. So that's a problem with overbinding. So they're holding on to their hormones bound to proteins all the time. So a product like DIM will unbind the hormones, and so it can land in the receptors. And so we can bring that free testosterone way up. And that makes you use your hormones better. So it's awesome. The other thing that DIM does is it actually prevents you from converting your hormones to metabolites. So we don't take testosterone and make DHT out of it. So therefore we have less acne and hair changes. We also don't convert testosterone to estrogen as likely. And so we don't have men going, oh, now my estrogen is too high and my breasts are getting tender and I feel kind of weepy. So by the way, these are things that we test for and are pretty rare. And if they're taking the DIM the way they're supposed to, then it won't happen at all. So that's a really key nutrient too that we use. Okay, so now the one that I did pick up. So this is curcumin. Okay, so this supplement, this is, people hear about turmeric, right? So turmeric, we know it's good for inflammation, it's good for joints. And curcumin is the form of turmeric that is body ready to be used. Because just turmeric in general, it's a very spicy, hot herb. It's not always assimilated into the body very well, especially when taken orally into the stomach. So when you're using a form that's already body ready to be used, you're kind of bypassing that type of stuff. And so that can be added for joint pain, for any kind of inflammatory, even for acne. I mean, acne is an inflammatory condition. And so any of those things can be assisted by adding curcumin or a turmeric option.
So that would be rosacea too then?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I need to be on that.
Yes, you do. Okay. And then this one is Serene that we're highlighting today as well. And Serene is for your mood. So this is, it's going to relax you.
It's a good one for the month of December.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need to put these in a bowl and just hand them out like
Like
M&Ms.
candy.
We don't have M&Ms. We have Serene in the office in a bowl. And it's made with DHHB, which is a peptide. And so that is going to really work directly with your brain and your neurotransmitters to help you feel more chilled and relaxed. And the other thing I have to say, it's not a sedative, so people don't have to be worried about, if I take it, can I drive? No, it's not a sedative, but it is going to help your brain dial back down and feel more relaxed and not be less likely to panic and less likely to have that, oh my God, I'm jumping out of my skin type of thing. So yeah, so this is something good to have in your purse, you know, pull it out anytime that you're like, so everything's like crazy.
Or in your glove compartment.
Yeah.
In my car. And I'm like,
Car,
okay, go to
your
a
travel
important
bag,
meeting.
right?
Yeah.
So my girls are both at the U of A in college, and then it's finals time. So they were here for Thanksgiving. They got loaded up on all the stuff. Like, oh, it's okay. You take this if you're feeling anxious. You take this if you need energy. You know, I'm sending them out with all their stuff. They're all on vitamin
stuff.
D. Oh yeah, they're all on vitamin D. We need their immune system to be boosted. We need their brain to work. So that's just funny with the syringe. That's what I do with that. And then this one, this is Methyl Factors Plus. Okay, so this product. This product is like does everything. It's the all-in-one does everything product. It highlights your B vitamins, right? So your B3, 6, and 12, these are what gives you energy, right? Every cell needs the B vitamins as cofactors to produce energy. And so every cell in your body has more energy. So your brain is going to be more energetic. Your muscles are going to be more energetic. Your everywhere is going to be more energetic. So this is your B complex. But the thing that makes this one so special is it's methylated. So when we take food in and nutrients or even vitamins in, as they pass through our liver, they go through metabolism. And one of the pathways is a methylation pathway. And so when you add methyl groups to what you're already taking in, you are forcing it down those correct pathways. And that means your body's going to use these nutrients appropriately and quickly because it has that. And of the multiple ways, pathways through the liver of metabolism, our hormones go through the methylation pathway, specifically estrogen does. And so when we are worried about getting exposed to estrogen in our environment, that's the bad kind, and we're like, we need to block our body from that. Our liver is supposed to recognize, that's bad, and methylate it and get it out. And so when you have optimal methylation, you're going to do that. So it's going to decrease your risk of exposure of estrogen that's not good for you. And so it's really a great product and does everything. And one thing I will say is the bottle says to take 3 capsules at a time. I don't know too many patients that can take 3 at a time because they're like, oh my gosh, there's so much to take.
Yeah. So I take 2 in the morning. Me personally, and I made the mistake as a rookie when I first started with BioTe, where I took like 2 in the morning and 1 towards the evening, and I'm like, why can't I sleep, Jennifer? Hello. And I eliminated that evening.
We don't want you to take it past 2 in the afternoon.
Right.
If you're going to take another one.
I learned that quickly, but nonetheless. And then also your urine's going to change a little bit in color too, so don't panic if you see a little more brightness hue in the urine, but that's very normal. But no, I take them all. Every one of them on.
Awesome, yeah. So they're really good. And the reason why we kind of pulled them out is what we're going to be doing today is we're offering them for free. So basically, the first 4 folks that call us in to say that they saw us on Facebook Live, we will give you the nutrients for free.
Whether it's today or tomorrow.
And do they get to pick which one, or do we?
I think they can pick which one they want to try.
Yeah.
I think that would be a better way.
Unless we don't have them anymore.
Oh, until supplies are gone.
Yeah,
supplies
last.
Yeah. So for the first 4 people that call in to request one of these supplements, and actually you can call in for DIM, so the first 5, then you can choose that one too. Then you'll get that for free.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So I have a question. Probably a question would arise here soon, but as far as the medical grade supplements here from BioTe, what the big differences? Like if someone's buying their over-the-counter supplements, are they still getting maximum benefit?
So that's such a good question because a lot of my patients, especially through the family medicine practice, are taking tons and tons of supplements, from Walmart or Costco because they're great prices, right?
Right.
Well, are they doing anything for you? So I can't bash any of those products because I haven't seen their studies, but guess what? Because they don't have studies. But these are research, right? So these are studied and researched, and what's in each of these capsules is exactly what's in the capsule because it has gone through that type of testing. And they also test how this works in the human body. And so you can be guaranteed that these products are going to do what they're supposed to do in your body, basically. Well, what you might take over the counter elsewhere may or may not, because I don't know. Did they test them? You can look on bottles, and they'll have stamps of approval of like GMP, which is good manufacturing practices, and there's different stamps that can be on them, which means they have had some testing. But when you're doing pharmacy grade natural supplements, they go through many more testing than just even that. And so that's why that's what we sell here, because we're like, no, we want the effects that it says it's going to happen. Like we're not just trying to sell you supplements to make a buck. We want to enhance your hormone optimization, enhance your symptoms, enhance your life, basically.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
if you're going
that's
to
a
be
good question.
paying for it,
Yeah,
you want it to work.
Get it that
Right?
works.
yeah. Don't throw it in the garbage.
Speaking of pay for it, somebody's asked about the cost.
Of the BioTe pellets. So for the
Or-
women,
I don't know if it's the cost, it just says cost, so I don't know.
all
if
right,
it's
well, I'll give a little bit of both. So the BioTe pellet cost for the women is $350, and for the men it's $750. And one of the reasons why it's so much more expensive in the men is they're getting 10 times the pellets you were getting. And they also last about 6 months. So they come a couple times a year. Women usually come about 3 times a year. So in the long run, it's not much difference, actually. But the men's price is because of the number of pellets that they're getting.
Yeah.
As far as the prices of the supplements, I have
Those kind
not
of range.
memorized those.
Range.
They
I think Methyl Factors is probably around 30. They're all about $35-40.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would
They're
say-
not super expensive, and
Right.
especially when you consider the fact that they're medical grade.
Right.
Yeah, like
exactly.
for Methyl Factors, I personally only take one in a day. So
that
it
does you
lasts
good.
me for 90 days.
Right.
And
Right.
DIM, I take one, and they have 60 day supply.
Yeah, the Data Key's 90
Vitamin
day.
D is
Yeah.
90 days.
I think
So
they run in the high 20s.
To
The
40.
to
low to
low
mid.
40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
DIM is going to be about 45.
Yeah, they're quite
48.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Were there other questions, Dennis, that you saw?
Not so far, no.
Okay.
All right.
I had said that we would talk about Prolon a little
Yeah.
bit. Prolon is also something that BioTe is partnering with.
Mm-hmm.
Prolon is a eating plan, which is like fasting for 5 days, but you're still eating whatever is in the box.
So
for
that's why
those
we call
5
it
days.
fast mimicking, right?
It's a
Yeah.
fasting mimicking diet.
Yeah.
And so we think it's a great idea to do that along with hormones. However, even before Christmas, it's 5 days. You can do a quick 5-day fasting mimicking diet,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you can drop 8 pounds just by doing those 5 days. And that's another thing that could be done before the holidays, and then after Christmas you can start something else that's healthy.
Yeah. The other benefit of the fasting mimicking diet is not only with the weight loss, and that's kind of what, draws people to do it, but you are really on a cellular level rejuvenating all your cells. Your body's purging the toxins and creating new cells, and that's pretty awesome. So you feel pretty great after doing it, and the Prolon. And I do that. They suggest that, let's say you're super healthy, you don't have a lot of things, that you do a series of 3 Prolons in a row, and that's usually 5 days of each month in a row. And I definitely do that. Sometimes I do a month and I skip a month and do another month, but I definitely do that because I think it's awesome. That's
Well,
great.
you
It's
have
5
increased
days.
energy.
It's 5 days.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
increased energy, you're clear-headed.
Yes.
Those are the things that I hear from people.
And they have really, really great olives and really great crackers,
I'm
and
sold.
there's these little chocolate chewy things.
So you're not being denied, right?
Yes, you are, but those you get those in
You
those
get little
treats. Yeah,
treats.
you get little treats in
It's
your
not
denial.
like you're eating crackers and water.
No.
You
No,
know?
But the crackers are so good.
That's so good. So, fasting is done all over the world, right? The United States doesn't do it because we are.
We're all about
what we are.
supersizing everything.
Yeah, but the benefits of fasting are tremendous. I mean, for the brain, tremendous for the body, etc. And so all over the world, everybody does these fasting things. So it takes in the United States, we have to have some gimmick to make us do it, apparently. But it's really good for you. And this is a way to fast for 5 whole days and not like die because you're starving to death, because you're actually taking in
about 800 calories in a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they've been chosen specifically to work with your body to allow that cellular purging and rejuvenation, and basically like what you would get from a fasting state. So it's awesome.
And when you're going through this 5-day fast mimicking diet, can you exercise?
They would suggest not.
Okay.
Because you're not getting enough energy. I did try it once. I led a hike on one of the harder mountains in my community.
Right.
And I just had to sit down on a rock and wait for the hikers to come back.
Yeah.
So we didn't need to call in a helicopter for you?
No, we didn't call in a helicopter, but I decided, you know what, this is not a smart idea.
You're not getting enough calories for the energy that you're expending.
And it sort of defeats the whole purpose. It does defeat the whole purpose because when you're hiking or exercising, you're turning on your cells again, and we're trying to turn them off so the bad cells can get purged.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they don't want you to exercise during it.
No.
But it's 5 days.
Did you have any side effects when you were in Prolon at all? Like, how did you feel? Did you
Oh,
get like a headache, or did you get
I
anything?
personally did not. I allowed myself 1 cup of coffee so I wouldn't have to go through. And I found studies with the benefits for coffee too. So
Oh yeah.
I can find studies for
Prevent
coffee.
Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
That's the big one, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of fun stuff here with the wellness team at Paradise that we'd love to have you come in a consultation and learn all the things that we have. We have brochures and folders that you can see a list of the stuff that we do. It's on our website, etc. Today's talk was to focus on the hormones, of course, and then we also wanted to introduce some of our supplements and the Prolon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the girls at the front desk are really helpful too at answering those initial questions, not to replace a consult by any means. But if you have questions, they can usually answer them. Jill is especially knowledgeable. Hormones, I can help with that. Again, it's not a replacement for a consult with one of these ladies, but if you have, a few basic questions, we can get those, answers for you. So, and then get you scheduled for that consult to get you going.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it was so fun today, guys.
I know, this is great.
And the wine was delish, right? Look, I drank almost all of mine.
Yeah, I did too.
Despite the fact that I was doing all the talking, I still was able to get that down.
You're just good at wine drinking.
It is a skill that I have maximized. Yes, absolutely.
Well, we hope that everyone watching, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching a recording at a later time, this is always available at a later date on our Facebook page. We hope that you enjoyed it and found it informative, and please give us a call. The first 5 people get to select one of their supplements that they would like to try, and I think they're all great. I can't wait to try the curcumin.
Yeah.
I'm getting on that one. And then we'll see you guys next month, the second Wednesday of the month. It'll be Dr. Weiss and myself, and who knows who else. And we'll see what the topic is. But if you have a topic that you're interested in, please let us know. Go ahead, chime in, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll do our best to accommodate you.
Yay. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Cheers. Yes.